Hello, I'm Henry. I'm the current chair for New Zealand Robotics, Automation and Sensing. This was the last one to say shotgun not at last year's meeting. So NZRAS, for those who haven't heard of us before, we're New Zealand Robotics, Automation and Sensing. We have a large network of academics and industry across New Zealand, including academics from all of the expected universities here in New Zealand. We also have members all across industry. There's about 150 members on our official list, although that official list has been broken for most of this year, so there's a lot more involved in NZRAS beyond our official numbers. But we represent all 8 universities and a lot of industry members as well. So this is just a short list of industry that's on our website. There are a number that need to be updated. These industry partners are those who actually operate in the area of robotics and automation. So these are companies developing automated solutions or developing robotic platforms and systems. But beyond just these guys, we also have a lot of connections to people within agriculture, aquaculture, forestry, all your standard primary industries, a lot of the automation sectors. So we not just have the guys who are actually building and commercializing these types of works that we do in the academia space, but we also have a lot of the industry contacts around the actual end user space who need these technologies. We also work very closely with our Australian counterparts, the Australian Robotics and Automation Association. I'm also the New Zealand representative for them at the moment. So through their connections, we have connections with all the academics in robotics and automation across Australia. We also have connections through a lot of their industry partners as well. So through them, through NZRAS, we have quite a lot of connections through a lot of people that you guys would want to be involved in who need smarter robotics, smarter sensing, smarter capabilities to New Zealand and Australia. We also work with them to host the Australian Conference in Robotics and Automation every 5 to 6 years in New Zealand. Last year was hosted in Auckland. 2029, we're looking to host it in New Zealand again, ideally in the South Island, given it's been in the North Island the last time. Potential for co-hosting with AINZ. I am hearing co-hosting conferences is actually quite complicated, but I think it would actually be quite cool. And there's a lot of crossover between the computer vision work at AINZ and the robotics works that's presented at ACRO every year. So hopefully someone from Canterbury, Otago, Lincoln, maybe keen in 5 or so years. A lot of the work we do in the agricultural space, this is a very long list, and lists are always boring. It's good to double check this video is actually muted. So, because we work, a lot of the roboticists in New Zealand work very closely together. This is just a subset of videos I could fit into one slide in the time frame that I had to actually speak to. But the best thing about robotics in New Zealand is we actively test these things in the real world all the time. New Zealand has the ability for us to do agricultural robotics, so we have a whole lot of orchards and vineyards and some very keen industry partners who are very happy for us to take robots into their field, even at the risk of potentially causing damage to their commercial vineyards and property. Not just orchards and vineyards, but underwater robotics. Always a downside of potentially playing these videos, how well they work. But underwater robotics, there was muscle recognition before in terms of quality analysis. There's a lot of work in underwater robotics for checking the quality of mussels under the water themselves. There's a lot of work with drones in both the forestry space and agricultural space. Basically, New Zealand does a lot of work on real robots in the field doing the actual thing it actually needs. And what we really need from AI is how to make a lot of that data, a lot of those decision making and actuations about smarter. So we've got a lot of robots, they're capable of doing a lot of things, but we need to make them smarter so that they can continue to do their work. There's a QR code at the end to sort of see a lot of these videos and a lot more. This is a very small subsection of all the work that we actually do in this space. We also do a lot of outreach. Outreach is pretty much one of our main focuses every year. This was a project we did last year with the US Embassy, where we created a life-size replica of the Opportunity rover. So it was the 20th year anniversary of Opportunity landing on Mars and the 200th year anniversary of US and New Zealand scientific collaboration. So working with the US Embassy, NZRAS put together this roadshow where we went up and down the country, visiting Parliament across the road, encouraging kids to get involved in STEM. We've run another roadshow this year. It was a trial roadshow with Omron, where we're trying to develop a roadshow that will go up and down the country and get not just academics and students and industry involved together so that everyone knows who's actually doing what. One of the big things we're finding with students doing robotics and automation is they're not actually aware of all the industry in New Zealand doing this kind of work. There's a lot of companies in New Zealand doing robotics and doing automation and doing really, really cool stuff, but no one really seems to be aware of them. And there's a lot of them, especially in the regions. So what ONRON's trying to do is set up this roadshow to go up and down the country, get local industry in, get the local students in, get the local academics in, and just be like, hey, what is the cool stuff everyone's doing? Who's who? And hire these students because they're awesome. This is another one that came out of the University of Waikato this year with Honri. So here's a really cool VR demonstration to get students engaged, actively engaged with robotics and STEM. This has gone up and down the country. On the top of the North Island, we really want to be able to extend that throughout the rest of the country as well next year. We're looking for more support. Doesn't cost a lot of money. We really just need people who are willing and happy and engaged to help us run these tutorials and demos. Basically just free space at a university. We'll send people down, get schools involved, and just run a lot of different outreach activities. This VR demo basically teaches students how to do CAD, how to assemble different items, and play around with really cool stuff with VR. So it's all just trying to get more kids and stuff into this type of work. Don't have time to go through all the work we do in the robotics space, but that QR code will go to a much longer form presentation we did at the Humanoid Robotic Olympics, but it's got a whole lot of videos of the different robotics work we do in agriculture, underwater, drones, you name it. Robots learning to walk around and do cool stuff. We do a lot of cool stuff in this space, and the relationship between robotics and AI, there's a lot of room to grow further as well. I think that is my time.